Hi, it's Matt here from Go Green Autos. So in this video I'm going to drive this van, the new Maxus eDeliver3 electric van, and I'm going to do a range test, real world driving, to see what you can get out of these. So I'm here at the back of the workshop, got it plugged in on charge. It's now fully charged, so yeah, I'm going to take this out and see what these do. These vans are available with two pack sizes, either a 35 kilowatt hour or a 52.5 kilowatt hour. This one is the 35. And what I'm going to do is slap on my magnetic sign, so I'll do a bit of advertising while I'm driving around, and let's unplug and get on our way. So let's just unlock it to release the charge cable, and these have a type 2 charger at the top. That is 11 kilowatt AC, of course, and at the bottom is a CCS DC rapid charging, and that's 50 kilowatt. So this one's got the 35 kilowatt hour pack, as I said. As far as usable space, I'm led to believe there's a buffer of about 2 kilowatt hours either side of the pack. So that makes this about 31 kilowatt hour usable. So I'm expecting to drive this at about 4 to 4.5 miles per kilowatt hour. So that would mean that I'm going to get between 124 and 140 miles range. The manufacturer's figures using the WLTP cycle is 141 miles city and 99 miles combined. And what I find is WLTP is quite realistic, and I'm expecting to get pretty much bang on that actually today. And this one is a brand spanking new van. It's only driven 1 mile around the block. I'm just pairing my phone up to the Bluetooth here. And this is the first time I've actually driven a eDeliver3 as well myself. And on this we've got two drive modes, eco and normal, and then we've got a regeneration button which gives us 3 levels of regen: low, medium and high. So I'm probably going to drive on eco most of the time because these are quite powerful, and eco driving is perfectly adequate, still more powerful than a diesel, but anyway, I'll talk to you a bit more about that a bit later on. And we're going to have it in high level of regen because why wouldn't you? So I've reset the trip meter, so let's get on our way and go for a drive. So I've driven a few miles, and my initial thoughts about this van: firstly, it is incredibly responsive. When you compare it with the other electric vans on the market, this one certainly got the most power, and I found if I was in normal drive mode it was actually too responsive. The accelerator pedal is quite light, and I found as the van was going over bumps in the road, I was on a very rural, rough road, but as it was going on bumps on the road, my foot was moving the accelerator pedal with the bumps, and it was making the ride quite jerky. Because it's too responsive. It's quite impressive. So anyway, in eco mode that does change the mapping accelerator pedal and dulls the power a little bit, and actually makes it on rough roads, makes it a little bit easier to drive. It's certainly a lot more powerful than a Nissan ENV200, Renault Kangoo or a Peugeot Partner electric van. And even in eco mode it's more powerful than any of those vans in their normal drive mode. The next thing is the regen. The battery is full, yet it's still got considerably strong regen, which is surprising because normally on an electric vehicle the regen is pretty much turned off when the battery is full, because there's nowhere for the energy to go, because the battery is full. So you've got to do a few miles before you start getting some regen, and the regen sort of fades in because then there's a bit of capacity in the battery for that energy to go into the pack. But on this, regen is very, very impressive. Even on the lowest level it still had a lot of regen with the battery at 100%. So time will tell. I've only driven 4.3 miles and I've just pulled over to do a little update. So as I start doing a few more miles, I'll see if that regen will get stronger. I can only assume it's going to get much stronger. But yeah, that's a bit different to other electric vehicles. And as far as economy so far, I've done 24.6 kilowatt hours per 100 miles. But anyways, too soon to read anything into that. Oh, state of charge 97%. So yeah, I will keep driving, but so far my initial feelings about this van is it's too powerful, actually. I can just see people buying this for fleets and drivers getting in it and driving them too fast, and spinning the front wheels and getting poor range because of it, because they are considerably more powerful than the other electric vehicles in the market. But anyway, I'll keep driving and I'll update you soon. So as far as temperature goes, I don't think this actually has a temperature gauge on it. I've been having a look and I can't see one anywhere, but it's early 20s. It's probably somewhere between 22 and 25 degrees outside. And as far as time goes, actually the dash says it's 8:30 in the evening and the stereo says it's 5:05 in the morning, but the actual time is 5:05 in the afternoon. And as far as road types go, I'm trying to do a mix, a bit of A road, where I'm generally 50 mile an hour because that was the speed limit, quite a lot of rural road, but it's quiet, and my average seems to be sort of 50 miles an hour on the rural roads as well. I'm going to get up on the A34 and drive along on a bit of dual carriageway, and then I'm going to go into Oxford and do a bit of city driving. So I'm trying to cover all the types of driving and sort of do an equal amount of each. I've just stopped, and one interesting thing to note. So the battery is now at 78% state of charge, but over there on our battery gauge we've still got all the bars lit, so there's 8 bars there. So they should be 100 divided by 8 is 12.5, I believe. So you would expect to see a bar or 2 drop down, or certainly a bar. We haven't seen that yet, so this isn't showing our full pack. It's obviously going to start dropping soon, but I'll let you know what the percentage is when we lose the first bar on that. So let's just have a look at the stats on here. It's showing an estimated range of 78 miles, but we can ignore that because it's a brand new vehicle and it's got no previous driving history. And our average consumption so far is 22.8 kilowatt hours per 100 miles, and our state of charge is now at 78%, and we've done 34.3 miles. So we're now going along the A34 dual carriageway. I'm doing 60 miles an hour, which is the road speed, because it's quite busy this evening. And state of charge is at 74%, and I've lost the first bar off the battery indicator. I didn't see it go, so I don't know whether the state of charge was a little bit higher, but I've only just noticed it. But anyway, 74%, we've now lost a bar. So the other thing I'll just mention is the road noise in this. Well, actually the lack of it. I've watched other YouTube video reviews of this van, and a lot of them comment that it's quite noisy and you can hear wind noise and tyre noise and things, which you can, but it's a van after all. And actually I don't think it's too bad whatsoever. In fact, you've got to compare it with other electric vans, and in this case its direct competitor would be a Nissan ENV200 or a Renault Kangoo Maxi, and compared to both of those I would say this is quieter. It's not noisy at all. I do wonder whether a lot of these other people that review vehicles are jumping into a van the first time and don't sort of appreciate that vans are more noisy, particularly when they're empty, and this is empty at the moment. But no, you know, there's wind noise, but it's not bad at all, and it's certainly no worse than the competition, and in fact I think it could be a little bit more muted and a little bit better. So now driving into Oxford city centre, and I'm going to drive around the city a bit, and to be honest, that's where these vehicles ultimately will probably end up. That's where they're needed the most, is in the cities where the people are, where the pollution is. And actually Oxford's going to be the first city to have a zero emission zone, not just a low emission zone but a completely zero emission zone. So obviously you will need vans like this. When I say like this, I do mean like this, because actually the smaller battery 35 kilowatt hour van is ideal for cities, particularly if you can charge at night where the vehicle's parked up and not being used. Then you really wouldn't need the larger battery pack when you're just driving around the city, because your average road speed is very much less. They're also much more efficient. Electric vehicles like the stop-start driving that you get in a city or a town, completely opposite to a diesel. And of course diesels don't like that sort of driving. Modern diesels don't like that driving anyway, because they clog up the particulate filter. So yeah, EVs, electric vehicles, electric vans are just perfect for city deliveries. So yeah, I'm going to spend the next half an hour or so driving around the city, and what a nice city it is to drive around in too. It's just stunning architecture in Oxford. It's actually very quiet as well. Normally this would be rammed with tourists, but obviously because of COVID, none of the tourists are here this summer. Look at that, over there on the right. Everyone's queuing up to go into the theatre, the Playhouse. I didn't think you were allowed to do that yet, go into theatres, but anyway, clearly you can. The rest of Oxford is just so quiet. This street would normally be packed with parked cars on both sides of the road. You normally would really struggle to find a space. It's all completely empty now. Just shows without the tourist here. You know, on a week, I know it's a weekday evening, but that street would be heaving. You wouldn't be able to park, and there's hardly any cars parked there now. This road has got new tarmac down, and gosh, this van is quiet when it's on fresh new tarmac. There is just no noise coming from it at all. I can hear is actually the electric motor. Very, very little tyre noise. There's a funny high-pitched noise actually. It's probably because these are brand new tyres, and now we're going to go back on to original tarmac. But yeah, very, very quiet when you're on a new bit of fresh tarmac. Incredibly quiet. And another Oxford landmark is just around this corner. We're in Headington in Oxford, and as you can see just up there, the Headington Shark. Right, I'm going to head out the city now. I'm going to go back to work, actually go back to the unit, because I'm dying for the loo and there's no public toilets around or anywhere I can stop. There's the new shopping centre, the Westgate in Oxford. They've got 50 electric car chargers in the underground car park there. All 7 kilowatt chargers, all free, apart from they have 3 22 kilowatt hour medium chargers in the corner. But yeah, great set of electric car chargers down there. But anyway, just a quick update on range. We've done 61 miles and state of charge is at 63%. So this is getting a little bit tedious now, so I'm going to head back. whether I'm going to go back out or whether I'm just going to do the maths and work them out to what it would be if you did a full pack, I'm not sure, but I'll update you in a minute. So I'm back at the unit now. Got a little bit delayed because I actually called in and saw my brother on the way back. But anyway, yeah, you can see the reversing camera there. It's very nice clear image, and sensors as well. So we're back now, and the state of charge is dead on 50%, and I've done 79.4 miles. And if I just look at the driving economy, done 21.7 kilowatt hours per 100 miles, 50% charge as I've shown you, and the estimated range is 50 miles, but of course we can ignore that. So based on my driving there, the range is going to be 159 miles with a 35 kilowatt hour pack, driving in summer with reasonably efficient driving. But anyway, what I'm going to do now is charge it, because on the wall box we can measure the stats of how much electricity it's taken to charge. So I'm going to charge it overnight, and then we can then measure how much electricity has been put in it and get a feeling of how big the pack actually is. So I will wrap this up in the morning when I've looked at the stats, and then get a feeling of how much capacity the battery pack has actually got on this. So here we are, following morning. The van's charged overnight. So I was going to get the stats out of the Wallbox app to see how much energy it's taken to bring the battery to 100%, but I hadn't realised it's not actually working, and when I look at the sessions, I've only got one session over the last 15 days, which is a shame. I don't normally use this side of the app, but I didn't realise it wasn't working, so I've updated the firmware in this morning, which I'm sure has now fixed the problem. But what I can't tell is how much energy that is used to bring it back to 100%. And what I needed that for was to see whether the driving economy figures were accurate in the van. But anyway, we don't have that information, so we'll just base this on what the dash is saying, which I'm sure is completely accurate anyway. So last night I used 50% of the pack. I had intended to drive more, but actually it takes a very long time. When you're driving around purely just to exhaust the battery and you've got nowhere to go, it really does start getting a bit tedious. And also realised that, well, sort of remembered this, of course, this is a brand spanking new van and I've got to retail it back out, so it's not a good idea putting loads of miles on it unnecessarily. And you know, if I start putting hundreds of miles on this, then maybe it will detract on the value a little bit. So for the purpose of this, just to measure driving economy, you know, using 50% of the pack is long enough to get your driving average. So I did 79.4 miles and used exactly 50% of the battery, so that's a range on this 35 kilowatt hour van of 159 miles, and my driving economy was an average of 4.6 miles per kilowatt hour. That was with a mix of different road types. So I drove in the city a little bit, but most of it was on quiet rural roads and A roads where my average speed was, you know, 50 miles an hour most of the time. So it was a good mix of roads, but if you were to drive this in an urban environment where your average road speed is lower and lots of stop-start driving, lots of slowing down, then that regen is charging your battery and you'll get a better driving economy. So 4.6 is very good, but quite clearly in this, if you were in an urban environment, you would be 5 or a little bit over. So you'll get a considerably more amount of range. I've got customers in London driving Renault Kangoo electrics, and they're getting 5 miles per kilowatt hour if they drive efficiently. And that was driving with nothing in the back, of course. It was completely empty. So if you've got a load in the back, then it will have an impact on driving economy, just like it does with a petrol or diesel. I don't know how much. The times I've driven electric vans loaded up, and I mean properly loaded up, right to the roof with logs, which I do quite frequently in the winter, I haven't noticed a huge difference in range, but obviously weight is going to reduce your driving range, just like it does with the petrol or diesel. but I have a feeling it doesn't do it quite as, it doesn't reduce your range quite as much as it would do with the diesel. I guess that's because electric motors are very torquey. You've got all the torque from naught. But yeah, as far as how much weight will impact on the range, I don't really have the experience of driving these vans all the time to be able to answer that one. I also didn't have the air conditioning on at all for my test. It was a nice warm day yesterday, but it wasn't really hot enough to have the air conditioning on, and I preferred to have the windows down so you could hear the birds and smell the country smells. But having the windows down does increase drag, so whether that's more efficient than having the air conditioning on, I don't know, but I suspect it's fairly similar. So anyway, my test was just driving reasonably economically, doing normal road speeds on a mix of roads, no air conditioning and nothing in the back. And as I've shown, with a this has got a 35 kilowatt hour battery pack, got a total range of 160 miles. So it just goes to show you can easily achieve more than the official WLTP test cycle figures. Just to remind you on this one, on the city test it is stated at 141 miles, and on the combined it is 99 miles. So whether you would call my driving combined, because it was a mix of different road types, I guess so, and I achieved 160 miles. Obviously I had no load in the back. I'm not sure whether the LTP test cycle has a load in the back. I have a feeling it might do, but anyway, the brochure doesn't state that, but I've got a feeling they do put a small load, like 20% or 15%, something like that. But anyway, more than smashed the figures, and I wasn't trying particularly hard either. You could drive this much more economically. I was trying to just be realistic, driving normal road speeds, keeping up with the rest of the traffic. No one overtook me. Indeed, I actually overtook others on the dual carriageway. So I was driving it just like I would drive any other vehicle in those normal traffic conditions. So yeah, cracking van these are. Pretty efficient drivetrain, very nice to drive, very responsive, everything's very light, just feels very modern, and a great alternative to what's currently out there, the Nissan eDeliver3, the Renault Kangoo Maxi, or the long wheelbase Peugeot or partner vans. So these have a larger cargo area. They've got 4.8 cubic meters, whereas the eDeliver3 is 4 cubic meters. They've got greater carrying capacity. You can also tow with these as well, 1,500 kilos with a brake trailer, and they have DC rapid charging as well. I think they look great as well, very modern design. Tool side, small glass area, so it's, you know, very modern, great to drive. Good amount of equipment as well. They all have parking sensors on the back and a camera as well. So I keep these in stock, so if you want an eDeliver3, currently got them in stock available for immediate delivery, but I can always get these, supply them new, as well as the Maxus eDeliver3 vans as well, the much larger vans. So yeah, I think that's about it. So if you've liked this video, please do click the thumbs up, because that really does help other people find the channel, and more videos coming on the Maxus eDeliver3 shortly.